Welcome to the Literature Lounge, where writers and authors share their stories behind their stories.
Hi, in today's episode, we have with us Umesh Upadhyay, the author of Western Media Narratives on India from Gandhi to Modi. So, this is going to be a very, very challenging conversation given the current situation. But to tell you a little bit about Umesh, he's a seasoned journalist with 40 years of experience across print, radio, TV, and digital media. He has worked with news networks like PTI, All India Radio, DD, Network 18, Z News, and served as the president and media director at Reliance Industries Limited. He's also a JNU, DU, and FTII alumni. He's also, as I said, the author of Western Media Narratives in India from Gandhi to Modi. His work in journalism has been recognized with the Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi Award. So, welcome in today's episode, Umesh.
Hello, Mohua. I'm so pleased to be here talking about book and other things. It's good to be having a conversation with a lively person like you.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'm a little intimidated with so much that I've read right now in your biodata. So I hope my questions don't appear to be extremely banal. You'll have to forgive me for that.
Or biodatas are written for somebody else, not to intimidate somebody like you. It's don't forget about that biodata. Just have a conversation.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So I need to know a little bit about your early life. What inspired you to pursue a career in journalism and communication? वो एक क्रांतिकारी बहुत पहले से जन्म लिया था अपने अंदर. So you wanted to become a writer, a journalist, to talk about social issues, politics, and all of that.
I wish I could narrate a very filmy story. Yes, kind of a thing. Look, at that age, and I come from rather a lower middle class family, so planning and other things are passe. It's like you get into something, you do it rightly, you do it with all your faculties. That's what you're supposed to do. So when I was doing my master's, graduation, and MPhil, there was one thing that I was clear. कि भाई कुछ पढ़ने लिखने वाली बात में हो ना, पढ़ने लिखने में मजा आता था. तो पढ़ने लिखने वाली चीज क्या हो सकती है? Either you could become a teacher or an academician or go to journalism. And it so happened that I got a job as a lecturer as I completed my MPhil. I taught in Delhi University for a few months in Zakir Hussain College as political science. But, Mohua, I needed a job and a permanent job very, very, urgently. That's a separate story because I was going good with someone and I wanted, नहीं तो वो लड़की कहीं चली जाती भाई, शादी वादी नहीं होती तो. But, to get a permanent job in academics was a difficult thing. Either you had to be belonging to one particular ideology that is left, and I was not. So I realized that it was very difficult for me to become a permanent lecturer in Delhi University. Because I can tell you one thing, I would go to different university interviews during my college, and I appeared for 5-6 interviews, and every time the head of department say, you did very well, but next time. In the meantime, I applied for journalism, a job in journalism, and I got selected in PTI. I said, look, ये अपने आप से हो गया, इसमें अपने आप से जाना है. And that's how I joined journalism. But writing, knowing new things, inquisitiveness, going deep into something and do your job well, I said that a lower middle class guy has to make a life in Delhi with no godfather or godmother or godsister or godbrother there. So worked very hard, really worked very hard. And God has been kind to me that I could become editor, manage so many channels, etc. So this is not a filmy story, but yes, it's a story of, hard work, resilience, never say no, and be at it. That's it.
So at home, when you told them that you want to pursue journalism and into academics, because in most homes they want their boys to become doctors, engineers, and those are the kind of professions that everybody understands. What was it like?
Oh, it's a funny story, I'll tell you. A real funny story. And, at that time, in 82, it's a question of 82, I also applied for a job in, you keep on applying for jobs. Okay. I applied for a job in Air Force and I was selected as a pilot officer. 52nd batch of, Indian Air Force pilot officers. And, but I was pursuing my studies, so I thought that I shouldn't go. And I passed medical, all India merit list, etc. And I declared because I thought कि यार अभी Air Force में चले जाएंगे तो पढ़ाई रुक जाएगी. That's it. Coming from a lower middle class family, when I told my father that पिताजी अभी मैं थोड़ा पढ़ना चाहता हूँ, he was a very pious man, very religious man. बोले अच्छा ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. But what happened? I got a job later on in PTI 4 years later in 85, 3 years later. And I got a paltry sum of some 500, 600 rupees and PTI, Press Trust of India. So my mother used to say, she was a village woman, came to Delhi and she said, अरे मेरा छोरा तो पागल हो गया है, अफसरी छोड़ के चपड़ासी की नौकरी कर रहा है. She will say, looking at that money. And I'll tell you a funny incident about I joined PTI. So, at that time, ऐसा ही होता था ना कि आपकी नौकरी लग गई तो कोई रिश्तेदार आपके लिए रिश्ता लेकर आते थे. And one fine day, somebody came with my reference of my mom, and my mom was there, and they said, "अच्छा, क्या करते हो बेटा?" I said, "PTI में हूँ." So he said, "PTI? Oh, physical training instructor. तो PT कराते हो?" I was thinking that I was a journalist and all that. And he said that, अच्छा PT कराते हो. I laughed at that and told my mom, अरे ऐसे आदमी को फिर मत बुलाइएगा मेरे लिए. So life is like that. And then I got chance to marry my, the chosen one. And then she, and luckily, she went into Air Force. She was in Air Force and I was in journalist, as a journalist.
But to get that entire press card was that greatest high as a journalist. When you had that, I too had that as a journalist in Delhi, and it is such a high to get that red colored press written on that badge.
Press, and I had a two-wheeler. I would write a press on my two-wheeler, and then drive that two-wheeler. And that's a lovely, lovely, lovely feeling that you are somebody, kind of a thing.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your book, Western Media Narratives on India from Gandhi to Modi. So it talks about the origins of the Western media bias. So tell us a little bit about this and what inspired you to write this book. What was the inspiration behind it?
Look, there are two things that that propelled me to like this. One is that during COVID, and all of us were having real tough time, and COVID was such a tragedy that, and Mohua, you wouldn't find a single soul in anywhere where somebody close to him or her is not impacted by COVID. It was a tough times. So I have been a journalist throughout. Journalist means communicator. You communicate to people. When I saw the media coverage of COVID, and especially the Western media coverage of COVID, I found it very disturbing. It was just negativity. Whereas as a reader, as a audience, as a viewer of television channels, I wanted some kind of hope, some kind of think that it will pass on. But and I used to read a lot of these foreign newspapers every morning, and I found that what was happening at the ground and what was being reported was totally different. So of course we were in difficulty. Of course India had problems. Of course, which country didn't have problem? But this problem was not created by India. India was a victim of COVID. But it was made to be somebody, our government, our society, our people, as we were going to be, horrible during the COVID. And then, COVID happens it starts in December in Wuhan, and there's again a debate whether who started it. Let's not go into whether China or America, etc., etc. I'm not going to, but it started creating havoc in Europe and developed countries of America in February, in March, late January. Whereas India at that time was not too many of cases. Even when India, had imposed lockdown on 24th of March, we had only a few hundred cases. But if you see commentary in the last week of March, it very tacitly, very smartly, they will put like this: oh, now it is devastating, having devastating effects in the developed world. What will happen if it comes to India? Poor countries like India, and they will invariably, by habit, bring about Spanish flu of 1918, famine of 1943. तो आप हमें डरा रहे थे क्या? आप क्या कहना चाह रहे थे? क्या करोड़ों लोग मारे गए थे, ऐसे ही लोग मारे जाएंगे? और यू आर विशिंग कितने लोग मारे जाएं? So reports after report, I felt, no, this is not done. Then I, starting researching, I started read. It took me around 3 years to read. I went into the history. I saw everything. Then I realized that COVID is just a bahana. It was an excuse. As Nehru used to say, Jawaharlal Nehru, that it is during the crisis situations that the role of media becomes very, very important. And he said that, and he said that about the foreign media. And I'm quoting Jawaharlal Nehru, that they do a lot of, nonsense during that time. This is not his words, mine. But, and I as I read, they did it with Nehru, they did it with Gandhi, they did it with Ambedkar. Sardar Patel was, marked as a villain, painted as a villain. I bring it out in my book. Indira Gandhi. And so Modi is in our present. So that propelled me that I should investigate it as a researcher, as an academician, with proper citations, with proper research. And that's why I took about 2.5, 3 years to complete this research project.
So, Umesh, tell me a little bit about this bias. I mean, it obviously impacts the global image for India and also the relations with other countries. So, please throw some light on this.
Look, this bias is basically, if you look at the media, the genesis of media, and I say it in my book, media is a product of the entire enterprise of imperialism. It is not some independent body. ये तो पैदा ही इंपीरियलिज्म को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हुआ, और इंपीरियलिज्म के दो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स थे. वन वाज मनी, spices and Christians, as Vasco da Gama said, that they came to India to see Christians and spices. So these twin objectives of imperialism has continued. Imperialism has changed its colors. It's after Second World War, it was no more possible to have a subjugate lands by force, though there were some countries who got independence in 60s and 70s. I start with Suriname, which got independent in 1975, Latin American country. But most of the Latin America, Africa, and Asia was liberated, or liberated within commas, during after the Second World War. But imperialism by different methods has continued. It is continuing even today. And Western media, their media is a very important instrument to propagate certain worldview, create certain narrative about these societies. And the narrative is that we are not, cultured. We are unadministrable about India. This is a Churchillian view of India. We will fall apart if, Britishers were not there. And that continues even today. They think that it's their right. And I quote Dr. S. Jaishankar, he said recently that the Western media thinks that they are a party to India, party to Indian elections. They will like to interfere in Indian elections. as they did during the COVID. So that narrative continues. It is continuing even today.
So obviously, from Gandhi to Modi, the portrayal of the Indian leaders have evolved in Western media. I mean, it's not the same like before. So how much of this bias do you think has been influenced by political factors?
It is. It is by political factor. If you mean by political factor, is this, as I says that because it's a project, imperialism is a project which was created. Now neo-imperialism or the colonization of minds and is an issue. Now, what is that? Why it is being done? The question is that अरे उसका कोई मतलब तो होगा ना, किस लिए कर रहे हैं? So the Anglo-Saxon world created a structure in the world power, international power structure, that is tilted towards them. They control all the money instruments, they control the political, they control the UNO, etc., etc. Now, their own purpose is to maintain, nurture this present power balance in the international sphere. Now, anybody who challenges the status quo, tries to be assertive, or challenges that, look, you're not doing the right, or I do not subscribe to you, your point of thought, point of view, anybody that they think it needs to be nailed down. As simple as that. So Modi is an assertive leader. He represents India. He represents Indian democracy. So Modi has to be, somehow brought to the terms so that he does not able to impact the present power balance. Look at in practical terms, what happened in Ukraine-Russia war? Oh, two Europeans are fighting, very simple. What I have to do with it as a country? So when I decide to buy some cheap oil, I mean, we are 140, crore people. हमको सस्ता तेल चाहिए. आप दो यूरोपीय देश लड़ रहे हो, आपकी प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी. ऑल राइट, बट मैं अगर सस्ता तेल लेना चाहता हूं, you will object to me. You will start asking, Western media, start asking moral, ethical questions. What? Oh, history will judge India where it was standing in this war. Oh, you two are fighting. I'm just trying to save my people from the impact of this war. I'm not going into the genesis of war, why it happened, who was responsible, etc., etc. All right. And history will judge me. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? What kind of double speak is this? And Europe was still buying gas from Russia at that time. अरे भाई, 200 साल तक आपने हमको लूटा, पूरी दुनिया को लूटा. You made money, you made yourself developed. History has not judged you. You on the always right side of the history. You are asking me as a country that history will judge me. You will give me bhashan, all those gyan. I think that's a problem. And Western media must understand that it should not become a party. It should remain independent. But it is not an independent watchdog. Its job is to, safeguard Western interests.
So what is that one key message that you'd like to leave with the readers of your book?
I'm a very proud Indian. As a proud Indian, which I have a very, deep sense of gratitude to my civilization, to what I am, to all of us are. We had a tough time in last couple of 100 years or more, but we are trying to stand on our own. We are trying to be saying to the world, look, we matter. We are there. We are an old civilization. So now what is the job that me, you, and readers can do? Don't take anything coming from the West as the gospel truth. Examine it, research it, go deep into it. Don't think that anything that comes is the ultimate truth. ज्ञान का भंडार सत्य वहीं से आ रहा है, इसमें पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. Question it, doubt it, debate it, go deep into it, and then you will realize that आप छोटे नहीं हैं, आप कम नहीं हैं. And I'm not comparing my civilization with somebody else's civilization. They may be good, they're good, but don't look down upon at me. And that's the job of every Indian, whichever political thought it may belong to. Doesn't matter. Right, left, center, no political ideology, doesn't matter. But ऐसा मत समझिए कि अगर एमी अवार्ड नहीं मिला तो लता मंगेशकर अच्छी गायिका नहीं थी. ऐसा मत सोचिए कि ऑस्कर नहीं मिला तो हिंदुस्तान की फिल्में बढ़िया नहीं होंगी. व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज कोलोनाइजेशन. वी नीड टू कम आउट ऑफ दैट माइंडसेट. आपका ऑस्कर बहुत अच्छा होगा यार, मेरे यहां भी बहुत बढ़िया फिल्में बनती हैं, बहुत अच्छा है. मेरे साथ, आपके साथ जो लेन देन होगा, when I talk to you as civilization on the level of equal footing. Nobody is great, nobody is superior, nobody is inferior either. This is one thing that I would like to emphasize. Now, if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. And I think it's very important for all of us to look into this, which I completely agree with you that there is a bias for sure, because they would like to project us as a country that's really, really struggling. And of course, I want to come back to this question. But before that, I want to ask you about what are your thoughts on the current state, of JNU right now? I mean, you're,
JNU?
yeah, tell me about JNU.
JNU is a great institution. It has evolved. All the living institutions, great institutions, evolve over the time. They are not stagnant water. It's like Ganga. बहुत सारी चीजें आती हैं बीच के अंदर, नए विचार आते हैं, नई धाराएं आती हैं. We must embrace that. It's, don't look at the world from the this very left and right, and it's not correct way to look at JNU. It's a great institution. I went to JNU recently. I really I was loving it. I said, look, it looks like इस मौसम में बोगनवेलिया JNU के अंदर कितने सुंदर खिलते हैं. You go to पाठसारथी रॉक वही है, वो हॉस्टल वही है, टीचर्स वही हैं, और वैसा ही हंगामा होता है, वैसा ही पॉलिटिक्स भी होती है, which is great.
I have to go with you to Ganga Dhaba and have a cup of chai when I come to Delhi.
Sure, you're most welcome, and we would love to go to different those, Ganga Dhaba, Satluj, Jhelum, Godavari, and have a stall there. Yeah, and the market complex, that shopping complex, not market complex.
Yeah, absolutely, Umesh. So, Umesh, can we just discuss a little bit about the racist NYT cartoon that depicted an Indian farmer with a cow, knocking on the doors of the elite space club? Tell me a little bit about that.
You look, 2014, that we did a great as a country, as a civilization. I think we're a very proud movement for India when we reached Mangalyaan. And Mangalyaan reached, it's completed its mission. Now, somehow, whenever we do achieve something, they're not able to digest it. Somehow or the other, something will come out. You like, यार ये मेरे घर में शादी हो रही है और ये देखो शहनाई बजाने के बजाय रोना शुरू कर रहा है, या एक कमेंट मार रहा है उल्टा सीधा. That exactly happened. India reaches Mars and the complete mission. New York Times brings a cartoon in 2014, where I think it's September 2014 if I remember correctly, and there are two necktie people, in suit and necktie sitting in a room with the wine glasses with them, and you can see they are white guys, and it's a space club. It's written down. And India as depicted as a half dhoti clad, banyan pehne hue, safa dale hue Indian, and with a cow and knocking at door. So what are you trying to say? It's quite racist. And journalists wrote about it. This was racism. At least say that, okay, you're welcome. It looks like वो दोनों ऐसे देख रहे हैं, कौन आ गया भाई? ये मेरे घर में घुसने की कोशिश कर रहा है. Who the hell are you? If you look at their faces. So we made a great thing. At least now accept it. It was a very racist way of looking at things. India's progress, which was earlier. Later on, they realized, and when there was a Euro, they apologized in a Facebook post that our intent was not like this. But your intent is seen in what you do, what you write, and that still goes on. And I'll give you another example. एक तो ये मैंने मंगलयान का serious example आपको दिया. The other example is Chandrayaan. When Chandrayaan was launched and Chandrayaan 2, and a BBC anchor will ask an Indian reporter, or BBC Indian reporter, oh, so India, ISRO is doing this and this, but you have still 60 crore people who do not have access to toilet, and there are poor people. So why should India spend? Why are you relating these two? Are these related? Is human history has developed in a linear fashion? कि सबको पहले रोटी दे दो, मकान दे दो, कपड़ा दे दो, फिर पढ़ाई पर पैसा खर्च करेंगे, फिर साइंस पर पैसा खर्च करेंगे, फिर रॉकेट पर पैसा खर्च करेंगे. ऐसा तो नहीं होता ना. It goes hand in hand. Britain has not developed like that. There are still 20% poor people in Britain who are designated as poor. So अगर आपके यहाँ ऐसा है तो भैया आपने ये why did you spend so much money on coronation of a 74-year king? Have you eradicated poverty altogether? No, you don't write that commentary there. You will always write it there. Then you must know that ISRO has done great job in alleviation of poverty with its remote sensing satellites, with helping to the farmer to tell that what weathers are there, all those kind of things, with the soil, research, all that. It has, and India has eradicated extreme poverty, and that is not my data. It is data of the World Bank. International. India has eradicated. So don't compare these two incomparable things. But they would always do it. They will always do it. वो ऐसी बात है, और ये आज से नहीं हो रहा. गांधी के समय से बोलते थे आपके यहाँ इतनी टॉयलेट नहीं है, आपके यहाँ इतने लोग बीमार हैं, आपके यहाँ इतना है. And they think that they're very cultured, they're very sophisticated, they're very educated, and we are shown as uneducated, illiterate, uncultured, unadministrable, etc., etc. That goes on. That is the mindset that needs to be corrected, I suppose.
So, okay, let's now talk about the media coverage of the Ram Mandir issue, both domestically and internationally. And in your opinion, how do you think this coverage influenced public perception about the entire issue, about the kind of money that was spent, and making this such a huge affair? What do you think about it?
Look, I don't cover this in my book, but it was a proud movement for crores of Indians. One, if it is a proud movement, then I think that atmosphere, that feeling should have come. Still, I see that there's a misreporting, half truths in Western media, for example. They will write a disputed structure was raised. My question is, if the Supreme Court of India, courts of India have given a judgment, they have settled the issue, who are you to now create these points that there was a problem? There was a problem, it has been solved by the society. Everybody has accepted it. So you don't believe in Supreme Court, you don't believe in Indian system, you would always, try to bring the issue which divides people, which I'm not saying that India does not have fault lines. We are a large society, working fault lines only, but don't make it divisions, which they try to do. I think it was a proud moment. I was there on 22nd of January. I felt very good that Ayodhya, the Ram Janmabhoomi, where Ram was supposed to be born. That's what Hindu thinks, what Sanatani think. And then it was their center of their astha. I think Indian media did good coverage, but Western media again went into their old tricks at that time, I would say.
So, how do you think that Indian media can really play, in shaping this entire narrative of how the Western media views us or writes about us? What is it that they can do?
the problem is we need to tackle that problem. The problem is that Western media has very minuscule presence in India. So fundamentally, technically, it shouldn't bother us. But they have a disproportionate influence and impact on things. Why it is? One, because of our mindsets. जो लोग important है, decision makers हैं, उनको लगता है कि वहां छप गया तो बहुत बढ़िया है. It is cited in academic things. It is taken in history. Two, whatever appears there gets printed in Indian languages also as a proof that it was correct. And if you allow me, I can cite one example here. For example, one newspaper, Los Angeles Times, wrote that Gandhi was, that's, how Gandhi comes to this entire book. Gandhi was also down with the Spanish flu in 1918. It wrote, based on some interview. Now, if Gandhi was down with Spanish flu or not, it was very easy. Gandhi is a very well-documented person. उनके किताब हैं, उनकी लेख हैं, उनकी autobiography है. Kindly checked his autobiography. You would have got answer. Gandhi was actually ill in 1918 August, but it was not Spanish flu. It was dysentery, a case of dysentery. He writes it. He narrates that. Nobody bothered to check. And everybody, Los Angeles Times wrote, and then Gulf News picked it up from here, and the headline was, had Gandhi died of Spanish flu, what would happen to India's freedom movement? And then it came to India. BBC did a story. Then Indians, Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, every story, every newspaper started writing a story. What Gandhi ate during Spanish flu, what Gandhi did, bakri ke doodh se kya hua, all those kind of, gossip. This is how a small story, a small half-truth becomes a bigger, false information. And then this is how the ecosystem works. You asked me, what can Indian newspapers do and Indian media? Again, check reference. It is about your country. It is about your leader. It is about Mahatma Gandhi. It is about Modi. It is about Indira Gandhi. Check it. There are sources available. ऐसा नहीं है कि उसने लिखा, बीबीसी ने लिखा है तो महान है, उसको वैसे का वैसा छापा. चेक इट. रेज क्वेश्चंस. जैसे वो रोज सवाल पूछते हैं हमारे बारे में, ऐसे ही आपको हर समय सवाल पूछना चाहिए. अब सही है तो छापिए भाई, इसमें क्या दिक्कत है? Everybody is free. But just don't, copy paste. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. That's what we do on computer. And put masala on it. And then print it. I think Indian media is a very vibrant media. Indian press is free press. Doing great jobs. I think on this, they need to be a bit cautious. वो उनके सारे कूड़े को यहाँ नहीं फैलाने का देश के अंदर. थोड़ा देख लेना ये कूड़ा क्या है.
Umesh, tell me, what are your other future projects?
I said I am a proud Indian. I'm very proud of this civilization. This civilization has a checkered past. It has some troubles also. In last few hundred years, we had a problem. We were subjugated, we were colonized. But still, within 70 years, we are, challenging the world. With the size of our economy, the size of our IT industry, etc., etc. Don't look it in terms of Modi government or A government. ये इस पार्टी का सरकार है, उस पार्टी का सरकार है, इस पर मत देखिए. India is a civilization. So I think I need to read this a bit. उस पर काम करना. इस पूरे, मान लो हम ये इसको ऐसा मानते हैं, you are asking my project, which it's in my mind. During these 500 years, they were difficult times. तो ऐसे कौन लोग थे जिन्होंने उस ब्लैक टाइम में, मुश्किल वाले टाइम में दिए को जला के रखा, हमको आइडियाज दिए, हमको कैसे एज अ सिविलाइजेशन, एज अ थॉट प्रोसेस जिंदा रखा. I think that's a study that I would like to do. And there are so many of great Indians, from Tulsidas to Ambedkar to Raja Ram Mohan Rai to a Savarkar or a Dayanand Saraswati or a Mahatma Gandhi, all of them, जैसे हम मकान बनाते हैं ना, सिविलाइजेशन के थॉट प्रोसेस पर एक ईंट के ऊपर दूसरी ईंट रखते चले गए. हो क्या गया है कि हम लोग ये सोचते हैं ये तो ऐसा था, वो तो वैसा था. हम लोगों को बॉक्स करना चाहते हैं. Everybody at that particular time, or Rabindranath Tagore, I mean, I've listed a few names, they're in 50. I think we should read them from this angle, that how did those, during those dark times, dark ages, there were sages who kept that hope alive of that great civilization. I would like to work on that. Maybe some years later, I would be like to writing this and bringing about that facet.
Thank you so much for being on today's episode, Umesh. It has been an absolute honor to talk to you, and I've enjoyed this conversation thoroughly. And we wish you all lots and lots of luck for all your future projects, and we look forward to the next book. And thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much, and I hope the viewers also will find it interesting, and keep on doing these podcasts, and hopefully I'll be able to write in the book and be again come to you. But before that, we have to go to JNU.
100%. वो चाय बाकी है, साथ में बैठ के चाय पियेंगे गंगा ढाबा में. And thank you so much, Umesh.
Okay, thank you.